Hello, Afreen. Can you hear me? Am I audible, Afreen, to you? Hello? Are you there, Afreen?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
I don't know. I can't hear you. Let's see.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay. I need to cast my screen again. So, was there any homework in the practice book, guys? No, perhaps not. We are going to study the main book. There was this text that I asked you to read, some statistics about what's happening in 1 minute in our busy world. Let's read the text together. Okay. What's happening? Present continuous. What happens? Present simple. क्या हो रहा है? क्या होता है? What happens? What's happening? The verb form is important. What's happening in 1 minute in our busy world? There are almost 8 billion people in the world. There are almost 8 billion people in the world and 525,600 minutes in 1 year. Okay. So what are all the 8 billion people doing in any one of those minutes? So what are all the 8 billion people doing in any one of those minutes? Okay, in 1 year, there are 525,600 minutes. So what are all the people, the 8 billion people in the world doing in any one of those 525,600 minutes? What are they doing? 1 minute doesn't seem like a long time, but a lot is happening. 1 मिनट महसूस नहीं होता बहुत लंबा समय. 1 minute doesn't seem like a long time. It doesn't seem like a long time. It doesn't seem like a long time. This mobile doesn't seem like an expensive mobile. This mobile doesn't seem like an expensive one. To replace the word mobile, repetition of the word mobile. It doesn't seem like an expensive one. He doesn't seem like a very sincere student. One minute doesn't seem like a long time. But a lot is happening. लेकिन बहुत कुछ हो रहा होता है उस 1 मिनट में. But a lot is happening. Here is a sentence in Hindi. मेरे पापा हमको तभी डांटते हैं जब हम खाना खा रहे होते हैं. My father always scolds me only when I am eating my meal. Understand the present continuous. मेरे पापा हमको तभी डांटते हैं जब हम खाना खा रहे होते हैं. So which action seems to have duration here? खाना खाना डांटना. When I say this sentence, मेरे पापा मुझे तभी डांटते हैं जब मैं खाना खा रहा होता हूं. In this sentence, which action seems to have some duration? किस action में दो actions हैं, डांटना और खाना. Which action seems to have duration? किसमें लगता है कि duration है? Duration है, ये थोड़ा समय है. Duration एक होता है एक होता है duration है. किसमें duration feel हो रहा है? मेरे पापा मुझे तभी डांटते हैं जब मैं खाना खा रहा होता. And that's why this sentence खाना खा रहा होता हूं should be in the continuous. Continuous tense talks about the duration of the action. My father always only scolds me when I'm eating. When I'm eating. तुम्हारा फोन तभी आता है जब हम सो रहे होते या सोने जा रहे होते हैं. Your phone always comes when I am sleeping or when I am going to sleep. You always call me when I'm going to sleep. One minute doesn't seem like a long time, but a lot is happening. लेकिन बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, हो रहा होता है. एक मिनट लंबा समय नहीं लगता, लेकिन उस एक मिनट में बहुत कुछ हो रहा होता है. बहुत कुछ हो रहा होता है. You should throw away the Hindi that you have studied, English that you studied in your childhood, because here, when I said a lot is happening, हाँ हो रहा है से ज्यादा बेहतर हिंदी है हो रहा होता है. अभी मैंने हिंदी दिखाई. जब मैं सोने जा रहा होता हूं, जब मैं पढ़ाई कर रहा होता हूं, तभी आपको काम याद आता है मेरे से. You only need me to do something when I'm studying. You don't like me studying, I think. Okay. A lot is happening. When people are getting up in New York, they're having lunch in Paris. See, this world, we are only aware of our part of the world. Yeah, it's morning. Where? In our part of the world. People have just gotten up. Some people are still in bed, feeling lazy to get out. And when people are getting up in New York, they're having lunch in Paris, lunch in the afternoon. And when they are enjoying their evening meal in Singapore, they are sleeping soundly in Vancouver. Around the world, everyone is doing something, including you. Around the world, it's the same thing. Around the world, around the world. Around is more British English. Around is American English. Around the world, it's the same thing. Around the world, everyone is doing something. Everyone, including you, is doing something. People didn't know this before. Human beings did not always have this knowledge that round the world something was happening, and the world does not experience day and night simultaneously. Because back then our movement was restricted because of lack of technology. We could not travel as fast as we do now because we had only horses and animals, elephants and camels. And lately, 1,000 years ago, 600 years ago, people developed ships, boats, we could not travel fast enough to understand and appreciate that different parts of the world experience sunrise, sunset, evening, afternoon at different times. If you're walking on the surface of the earth, you will never experience that this earth does not experience the sunrise and the sunset at one time, because your walking speed is so slow that wherever you go, you will see, okay, it was morning here when I left in India, and then you're walking, then you will see the sunset wherever you are, because your walking speed is so slow. And then you keep walking, then another sunrise, another sunset. You never experience any time gap between two places because your speed is so slow. But if you quickly from here go to America right now, then you realize, oh, I left India in the morning. How come I'm here in 4 or 5 hours in America? It should be afternoon. Here it is midnight. How did that happen? Nowadays, we don't need to, because we have got voice, video call facilities. You can talk to anybody, anywhere, and see what's the situation in the sky. It's evening but people didn't always know this much only. If you think logically just on this one point, just this small point, that while it is morning here, in the Middle East, people are still in bed. It could be around 5 o'clock in the Middle East. America is very far, okay? Just go to Europe, and most people will be experiencing dark right now. Their skies will have no sun right now. This simple piece of information people didn't have, that this world does not experience the sunrise at the same time. They thought that when they saw the sunrise, it was the sunrise for everybody in the world. That was the world for them, not their area. If it is sunrise in India, is it sunrise in the whole world? If it is sunrise in the Middle East, is it sunrise for the whole world? If it is sunrise in America, is it sunrise for the whole world? No. But people didn't have this basic information. This is simple, evidence that if analyzed logically is enough to just prove that people knew nothing about the nature of this universe, what this world is like. People didn't know an iota of what this world is like. They can make all the claims about the universe and the galaxies and the Milky Ways and all these things. They didn't even know this basic thing, people in the past. Their so-called creator did not inform them about this basic thing, that, hey, listen, you don't experience the sunrise at the same time. What people knew was limited about their geography. Logically, if you analyze your things, that people claim, yes, as knowledge kept growing, becoming wider and wider, people borrowed that knowledge, used that knowledge, forcefully inserted that knowledge, that it was there, it's written. So a lot is happening in 1 minute. This is so, when I was a kid, it was so surprising for me to hear from my teachers that it is morning here, It is night in America. My teachers were the first people who told me this. It was not common knowledge. Today, 30 years later, it has become common knowledge. Thanks to the internet, people have live on their mobile phones, live from this place, live from that place. So everybody knows, people living in villages can also see on their mobile that it is afternoon in their country and it is night somewhere, it is morning somewhere, because somebody is live from there and they're talking about their day. They're showing the sky. So it's common knowledge today, common knowledge. Everybody knows. But when I was a kid, this was not common knowledge. Only 30 years ago, we learned about this when we went to school. And then I was so amazed at this information. I came home and asked my mom about it. And she said, yeah, some people say that. But we had no way to prove that was right, because back then we could not talk to anybody from the US live. So we only assumed that what the teacher was saying was right. It was a matter of trusting your teacher. Today, you don't need to trust your teacher. You can see the evidence that yes, it is nighttime in the US. So, what do you think is happening now worldwide at this moment? What is happening in just one of those 525,600 minutes? Do the statistics quiz. Okay. So in this 1 minute, इस मिनट में, इस एक मिनट में, अभी जो चल रहा है, इस एक मिनट में, in this 1 minute, ये अच्छा important phrase है दोस्तों. Pay attention to this phrase. In this 1 minute, this number of people, so many people are getting married. A certain number of people are getting married. What number is this in your opinion? 116 people are getting married, or 916 people are getting married? What's your opinion? In this 1 minute, how many people are getting married? In this 1 minute, right now, count from now and count up to 60, and a certain number of people will no longer be single after you counted 60. What number do you think that is? Which number do you think, Pratik, is? 916. Have you already listened to the audio? After doing the exercise. Okay. So what was your initial assumption? What did you think was the number when you first read? You wanted to go with 116 or 916? Which did you think was a more likely number? Were you correct about your guess? More than 700. Oh, why did you think it was more than 700? It was talking about our whole world. Yes. Not only India or India, yes. Yeah. Talk about India, then I will. Okay. Yes. 8 billion people live here, right? So in 1 minute, 916 people are getting married. And were you correct? Okay, great. So in Hindi we will say, इस एक मिनट में 916 लोग की शादी हो रही है. इस एक मिनट में हो रही है. इसका मतलब हर मिनट होती है. जैसे इस एक मिनट की जगह बोल दे every minute, तब sentence will change into the present simple. See the difference. इसीलिए बोल रहा हूँ ये in this 1 minute is an important phrase here. Because you are saying in this 1 minute, you are saying these many people are getting married. But instead of in this 1 minute, इसके जगह अगर आप बोल दो every minute, तो क्या बोलोगे? 916 people? No. Every minute में कैसे बोल पाएंगे? Every minute में बोलेंगे every minute 916 people get married. Every minute 916 people get married. Number 2, in this 1 minute, how many babies are being born? What was your initial assumption? I'm sure nobody knows these numbers, okay? We have to just assume what is right, and then we'll check with the audio. So what did you guess? What was your guess? Because the same numbers are written for people being born and people dying, and clearly the population of the world is increasing. So the number of people being born should be bigger than the number of people dying. So it's an easy question. Again, for some people, there's a how do I decide? Sometimes some questions do not check your knowledge, they check your reasoning. This is one of those questions. Number two, because the numbers are the same, 107, 257, 107 and 257, right? If the numbers were different, you would not, your guess would be just a guess. But right now, we can logically conclude that the right number should be, if these numbers are correct, then 257 babies are being born and 107 people are dying. Every minute, the world's population increases by 150. Every minute, this world gets to have 150 people, more people. So if you calculate it by the year, 525,000 multiplied by 150, right? 5 lakh, 5 crore, all right? So more than 5 crore people, 8 crore people, nearly 525 and 150. Yes, 5 crore, 8 crore people, 9 crore people are, being born, or they are born. 8 crore people are born every year. Not born, I mean, the population is increasing by this number. More people are born, but some people die. So the difference is like nearly 8 million people. 8 million, no, 8 million is 80 lakh, 80 million, 8 crore people. 8 crore people are being added to the population every year. Okay. At this rate, currently. This can change. Okay, number 3. How many planes are flying above the earth in this 1 minute right now? If you start counting 1 and end count up to 60, in this 1 minute, a certain number of planes are flying above the earth. How many planes? 10,000 planes are flying above the earth. Number 4, 18 or 48 million people are making phone calls in this 1 minute. How many people are making phone calls? 48 million people. Wow. Have you checked the number with the audio? You haven't checked. Nikhil and Afrin, what do you guys think? Which number is correct? How many people are making phone calls in this 1 minute?
I think 48 million.
48 million people are making phone calls. They are doing something that nature did not make them capable of. Nature has not given you such a loud voice that you can communicate to somebody who is 100 kilometers away from you, 1 kilometer away from you, 2 kilometers away from you. No matter how loudly you shout, your voice is not going to reach any further than a kilometer. If you're at the top of a mountain, 2 kilometers maybe. If you have got really strong lungs, then and you shout at the top of your voice, at the top of your, you use all your lungs, ability, then maybe you can take your voice as far as 1 or 2 kilometers. But if people are making phone calls, again, I will say, if you analyze deeply enough, logically enough, this is something that all the people born before you, before two generations, okay, last 50 years, they were not capable of doing it. All the people born till a few 100 years ago were not capable of hearing the voice of somebody who was not present in front of them. All those humans never experienced this magic that somebody is in another town and you can hear what they're saying live without any delay. If you think the way I want you to think, you will be amazed at the wonderful life that you have today in comparison to those who were born before you. All your grandpas, great-grandpas, and great-great-grandpas, and all your ancestors could never experience this beautiful and amazing thing that they are sitting in this room, they are listening to somebody, they can hear somebody who's not in this town. It was something that most of them thought only gods could do. Akashvani, talk through the sky, right? Radio started doing it, Akashvani. That's why radio is called Akashvani, right? And today, everybody can do it. You guys are wherever free in Nickel, and not only hear me, see me moving my hands and everything. And the thing is, only this generation of human beings, is enjoying this amazing experience. Everybody else born before our generation could not do this. They didn't know what a mobile phone was. They didn't know what a landline thing was. Number 5. How many people are sending emails in this 1 minute? More people are making phone calls in this 1 minute, or more people are sending emails? What is more common? People make more phone calls or people send more emails? I think phone calls are more common than sending emails, right? Making phone calls. So if you guys are choosing 48 million people make phone calls every minute, okay, then I think 14 million people send emails every minute. I'll go with a smaller number because I believe that look at countries like India, China, Bangladesh. A lot of people don't have computers. They don't send emails. They make phone calls, right? So number of people who make phone calls is obviously bigger than the number of people who send emails. So I'll go with number 14 million. Logical answer. So no matter what the answer in number 4 is, 18 or 48, number 5 must be 14 million. What do you guys think? Because less number of people send emails. They make phone calls, right? Yeah. Making phone calls easier. And again, you don't need to be educated to make phone calls, right? To write emails, you need to be educated. So obviously, logical answer is 14 million. If you take this question to some people, will they be able to use this logic and give some correct answers? Some people will do that, of course, because they are capable of doing logic. And some people will blindly choose every time. They will not be able to connect dots that, hey, listen, more people are born, less people die. That's why the number is increasing. Let's choose accordingly. Hey, phone calls are more common than emails. Let's choose accordingly. What will you say about those people, those who can't really think logically about these things? That they can't see what is right in front of them, right? They don't have the ability. They don't have that kind of, yes. 6, 15,000 or 50,000 people are downloading songs on iTunes. Well, no idea. Again, you can make a guess, of course. iTunes, I've never even heard of iTunes. I don't use iTunes. Have you ever used iTunes? It's only for Apple phone. It's only for Apple phones. Yeah, because iTunes means it should be an app on iPhones. Okay, that's why it is iTunes. Okay. No wonder I do not know anything about it. Okay. So the number should be smaller. iPhones is not available with all the people. So iTunes should be something like that, like a Spotify type of thing, I guess. Okay, number 7, the top 10 billionaires are earning on average how much? Top 10 billionaires. Every minute, they earn this much money. Okay, in 1 minute, they earn this much money. In this 1 minute, they are earning this much money. Which amount? $20,732 in 1 minute. Number 8, 4,500 or 45,000 are buying McDonald's hamburgers. In 1 minute, 45,000 people. Every 1 minute, 45,000 people buy McDonald's hamburgers. It means McDonald's sells 45,000 hamburgers every minute. That's a huge number. I might not be choosing that. If I were to choose, I would not be able to think like that. Maybe I would choose. If that's what I'm saying. My common sense does not want to believe that it is such a huge, huge thing. Not any. I saw a video. Not a video. Most of influencers. Why are you saying any? Your choice of any in the sentence is what I'm objecting to. Any. Your sentence is positive. I saw. Then you should say some influencers video, not any. Some influencers video. In every video they eat anything like McDonald's. Fast food. Fine. Number 9. We are throwing away how much rubbish in this 1 minute? Every minute we throw this much rubbish. Remember, this world is becoming a rubbish bin, rubbish bin, rubbish can. We are collecting a lot of rubbish here, producing a lot of rubbish here. 4 or 14 meteors are falling to Earth. Meteors are falling to Earth. Every minute, these many meteors fall to Earth. Every minute. Lightning is striking in these many places in this 1 minute. It means every minute, lightning strikes. God makes babies and God sends lightning. So God is busy sending lightning and making babies every minute. All right. Every minute God makes 150, as a 257 babies. Okay. And sends maybe 360 or 3,600 lightnings every minute. So what does God like more? Making babies or sending lightning? Even if you go by the smaller number 360, God's favorite activity is not making babies. God's favorite activity is sending lightning, because he sends at least 360. If that is the number, I do not know. If the number is 3,600, okay, then clearly God loves sending lightning. Okay. Because both the things God does, it sends lightning and it makes babies as well. Number 12. How many animals are becoming extinct in this 1 minute? Do you know what it means, extinct? This world is losing diversity slowly and slowly. Like there are all kinds of animals, plants, and things available, right? But they are decreasing in their number. Slowly and slowly they are dying. Some of them are disappearing slowly and slowly. A time will come when there will be very few species left on the planet. They are becoming extinct. They are disappearing. They are becoming extinct. Dinosaurs became extinct. They existed in so many different species, right? There were so many different species of dinosaurs here. And today you can't find any. All of them disappeared. And again, human beings didn't know anything about them until a few years ago. Until a few years ago, we found a fossil of one of those. Okay. Okay. Isn't it very easy to see the obvious when you analyze such things? The Creator told you everything, that I made the earth, I made the sun, I made the moon and everything. But he forgot to tell you that I made dinosaurs you didn't see before. There were animals. Okay. Anyways, so 0.15 or 1.15 of an animal is becoming extinct, is disappearing. Now let's listen, and there will be extra information as well. Pay attention to that extra information. .11.
What's happening in the world right now? 1. At this moment, 116 people are getting married.
The long
116 people. The right answer is not 916. The answer is 116 people are getting married. Okay. 916 sounded too many people. Okay. Why did you think it was going to be more than 700? What reason did you give me? Because it was not about India alone, right? Yeah. 116 people are getting married in this 1 minute. We are not talking about one day. Okay. It means all over the world, every minute, 116 people get married. In 1 hour, 60 times 116 people get married in this world. Okay. So in 1 hour, 60 multiplied by 116, that will be 6,000 plus people. 6,000 plus people, nearly 6,600, 700 people. 7,000. Yeah. Nearly 7,000 people. Nearly 7,000 people get married in 1 hour. Every hour, 7,000 people get married on this planet. Nobody is to tell them that don't make this mistake. They're, ready to make this mistake of getting married. 7,000 people. Nobody cares about anybody. Otherwise, people would have stopped them. They would have said, listen, don't do this.
Longest marriage ever lasted an amazing 90 years.
The longest marriage ever, amazingly lasted 90 long years. Wow.
In 1925, Karam Chand, then 20 years old, married his wife Katari, age 13, in India. They celebrated their 90th anniversary in 2015. Karam.
In 1925, a guy got married. He was, how old back then?
20 years.
He was 20 years old when he got married. In 1925, and his wife, Katari, was only 13 years old. Okay, 7 years younger. Okay, the boy was 20 and the girl was 13 years old. Okay, and they celebrated their 90th anniversary in 2015.
Died just 6 weeks later.
Karam died just 6 weeks later. So they celebrated their 90th anniversary in 2015 and Karam died 6 weeks later. 6 सप्ताह बाद. तो बाद के लिए हमेशा आफ्टरवर्ड यूज नहीं करना है. आफ्टर एक प्रीपोजिशन है, तो आफ्टर के बाद आपको कुछ बोलना होता है, जैसे आफ्टर माय मैरिज. आफ्टर माय मैरिज, शादी के बाद. मेरे शादी के 2 साल बाद, 2 years after my marriage. Understand how after works, okay? After is a preposition. So after the lesson के बाद, half an hour after the lesson के आधे घंटे बाद. After sleeping, सोने के बाद. सोने के 4 घंटे बाद, उठने के 4 घंटे बाद. उठने के 1 घंटे के बाद ये दवा खा लीजिएगा. Take this pill 1 hour after you wake up. 1 hour after waking up, after you wake up. Because I'm teaching in the grammar class 9:30 batch, the same thing. कैसे after एक preposition, अभी after adverb हो, conjunction हो गया when I said after you wake up. Because ये after preposition नहीं था. You wake up एक sentence जैसा sound करता ना, you wake up. So those words which bring sentences together are called conjunction. तो मुझे आश्चर्य लग रहा है that many of my students are not attending that grammar class, that 9:30. It's unbelievable to me that what we are studying there is going to be an eye-opener for a lot of students. They will learn things that will solve a lot of confusions in their mind. But still, not many people are attending. I don't know why. Okay. Where was I? I was talking about, he died 6 months later, 6 weeks later. तो पता चला 6 weeks किस समय से काउंट हुआ है? 6 weeks कब से काउंट हुआ? The day they celebrated their 90th anniversary. So always later make reference point होता है. Okay. So you say, just like you say 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, अभी से count होता है वो, हमेशा. Always counted from now, okay? So similarly, opposite word is later, which is always counted from a moment that you mentioned. For example, I woke up at 6 o'clock. You mentioned this. Now, आप a reference point बना के बोलो, 2 hours later, I had breakfast. I woke up at 6 o'clock. An hour later, I went to my English tuition. Okay, so at 7 o'clock, like that. So later word is always used with the time expression only. 2 hours, 3 hours, 2 days, 2 years, 5 days, 5 weeks later, and there is a reference point. There is a big difference between after and later. Both are used as baad in Hindi, baad, but people don't understand. बाद के हिंदी बोलने से later or after नहीं decide होंगे. You have to learn the part of a speech of the words. Then अगर आपको parts of a speech पता है तो uses पता चल जाएंगे. Otherwise you need to see the examples as well. So later is an adverb like ago, and after is a conjunction or a preposition. तो दोनों में कोई match नहीं है. दोनों के use होने के तरीके अलग है because they belong to two different categories of words. After is a conjunction. So conjunction का काम है जोड़ना. Or after is a preposition before a noun or noun equivalent. After breakfast, I'll study after breakfast. ये हो गया preposition. I'll study after I have breakfast. ये हो गया conjunction. I'll study एक sentence after I have breakfast. I have breakfast is another sentence. दोनों के साथ में जाए. Breakfast के बाद हम करेंगे पढ़ाई. So you can say it in two ways. I'll study after breakfast. I'll study after I have breakfast. Both are the same thing, but then the part of a speech of have is different. When you say after breakfast, it's a preposition. When you say after I have breakfast, it's a conjunction. But later is never a preposition or a conjunction. It's always an adverb. So it answers the question when, because it's an adverb of time. Okay, 2 hours later. कब 2 घंटे बाद, कब 4 साल बाद, कब 1 दिन बाद. So there must be a reference point first. I got married in 2008. I got married in 2008. All right. And then 9 months later, my daughter was born. 9 months later, my daughter was born. 9 months कहाँ से गिनूंगा मैं? Obviously from my marriage. मैंने reference point दिया आपको. अगर मैं after use करना चाहूँ, I can use it. I got married in 2008. 9 months after my marriage, I had a baby. Aditi was born. 9 months after my marriage. ये after अभी भी preposition है क्योंकि after my marriage. 9 months after my marriage, my daughter was born. So I believe that course is going to be the most important foundation course one will have. This is what I believe. The things I'm going to teach there. And this will carry on for, I think, a year. 1 साल चल जाएगा, the course, the grammar course that I'm teaching at 9:30. And right now it is free. Okay. I'm not very sure how long it will be free. The things that I am teaching right now on YouTube. Okay, I will not always keep them free. I know that. There is a good reason for that. देखो अब तक मैंने जो पढ़ाया लोगों को उनके दिमाग में चेंज लाने के लिए पढ़ाया. I have never taught to make notes. आज तक नहीं. अभी भी आप लोग जो यहाँ हैं, जो लोग थोड़ा बहुत सीखे हैं मेरे से, वो महसूस करते होंगे चेंज उनके दिमाग में है. कॉपी किताब में उनके पास कुछ खास लिखा नहीं है किसी को दिखाने के लिए. But the change I try to bring is in your mind. Okay. Moving on. So he died 6 weeks later.
2. At this moment, 257 babies are being born and 107 people are dying.
At this moment, in this 1 minute, okay, this is happening.
On average, about 132 million people are born and 55
Dekho, now this is present simple. On average, 132 million people are born and
million die every year.
every year, so present simple. Every year sounds like something that happens again and again, so the present simple.
3. At this moment, 10,000 planes are flying above the Earth.
At this moment, yeah, this is happening. हो रहा है, present continuous. और ऐसा हमेशा होता है, हर
There are
मिनट
also 1,071 satellites going round the Earth, one of which is the International Space Station.
4. At this moment, 48 million people are making phone calls.
Do you know that more people in the world have mobile phones than toilets, and the average
More people in the world have mobile phones than toilets.
person checks his or her phone 110 times a day?
An average person checks his or her mobile phone 110 times a day. People like me, I think we go, more than the average. We check our phones maybe 200, 300 times a day.
5. At this moment, 144 million people are sending emails.
Coming, just give me a second. My phone.
People also text a lot. Worldwide, they send nearly 9 trillion texts every year.
6. At this moment, 15,000 people are downloading songs on iTunes.
There are 26 million songs you can download on iTunes. I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas is the most downloaded song ever.
7.
What is the most popular song on iTunes?
I
Got a
got a
Feeling.
feeling.
And that song is the most downloaded song ever.
At this moment, the top 10 billionaires are earning on average $20,732 every minute.
Oh,
Sad to say that the average person worldwide is earning just 0.013 of a dollar in this same minute.
an average person earns 0.17 something, 0.017 something. Very little money per minute. And these billionaires, top 10 billionaires, they are earning $20,000 per minute, more than $20,000 per minute. So the gap is never going to decrease. The gap is every minute increasing.
Bill Gates, the American businessman who founded Microsoft, is the richest billionaire in the world. He is worth $76.6 billion.
8. At this moment, 4,500 people are buying McDonald's hamburgers.
McDonald's has
I
more.
was right. 4,500. 45,000 was a huge number. 4,500 people. In 1 minute, you guys don't understand. We are talking about just 1 minute. And in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. In 1 day, there are so many minutes, guys. 4,500, yes.
More than 34,000 restaurants worldwide and employs 1.8 million people.
9. At this moment, we are throwing away 2,500 tons of rubbish.
Every year, we create about 1.4 trillion kilos of rubbish worldwide. 46% is food waste, 27% is paper and plastic.
10. At this moment, 14 meteors are falling to Earth.
The world's biggest meteor fell on Namibia in Africa about 80,000 years ago. It's called Hoba and is between 190 and 410 million years old.
11. At this moment, lightning is striking the Earth in 360 places.
The average temperature of lightning is around 20,000 degrees Celsius hotter than the sun.
12. At this moment, 0.15 of an animal is becoming extinct.
Animals in danger include the black rhino and the mountain gorilla in Africa, and many species of frog.
Okay. So, guys, I want you to do something. I want you to listen to this audio file many times, okay? So that you guys become familiar with the information here. You are also allowed to write down numbers next to each bit of information. For example, when you hear number 1, then you hear 1925, put 1925 here. Karamchand was 20 years old, put 20 here. All the numbers. I don't want you to bother yourself with the numbers. Just write them down next to this information here, next to this statement here, okay? On the left, on the right, wherever. And I will ask you to tell me what information, extra information did you get in the audio. For example, listen to this.
10.11. What's happening in the world right now? 1. At this moment, 116 people are getting married.
The longest marriage ever lasted an amazing 90 years. In 1925, Karam Chand, then 20 years old, married his wife Katari, age 13, in India. They celebrated their 90th anniversary in 2015.
These are numbers. You need to write them, right? Okay,
Karam died just 6 weeks later.
Okay. Now we are done with this. Now you tell me what you heard. You don't have to memorize anything because the numbers are there. Okay? So you have to tell me what you heard. So first thing, in this minute, how many people are getting married? 116 people are.
116 people are getting married.
So sorry, Afreen. So many people are getting married every minute and your number is not coming. I'm so sorry. So sorry, Nikhil. You guys are waiting, I know, impatiently. But don't worry. Okay? Apna number aayega. Okay? So there will be a minute in which you will be getting married too. Okay? Every minute 116 people get married. You guys are not getting married. Can you believe it? Anyways, what's the extra information? In 1925, a marriage took place. It was between Karamchand and Katari. Karamchand was 20 years old and Katari was 13. They were married for 90 years. Karamchand celebrated their 90th anniversary in 2015. They were married for 90 long years. 6 weeks later, Karam died. Okay. Katari was ready to score a century together. But Karam said, no, I can't anymore, sorry. He got out. The partnership broke. Okay, this is what I want you to do. Can you do this? This is not very difficult. You're not supposed to copy paste the same sentences. You can say it in your way, but you have to share the information. You have studied enough to do this. You have enough knowledge, enough vocabulary to do this. If the only thing you need to do this would be motivation, and 2, imagination to think how you want to express this information correctly in Hindi. Once you know it in how to do it in Hindi, you'll be able to do it in English as well. So spend time with this audio, okay? That will be your homework. When you guys come tomorrow, I'll ask you to just do this. And then exercise 5, please. Exercise 5. There are 12 questions here. You have to answer them as well. This will be your homework too. Srishti is absent again. Perhaps she didn't wake up. After your class is over, I'll not start a class in the morning. 6 o'clock class, I will not start. Because last 2 batches, my experience has been bad with morning classes. The students somehow tend to go absent from the morning class. They can't really, because I have understood this problem is because of the changing habits of the youth. They don't get up early morning, at least the people I teach, okay? And the kind of importance they attach. I know there are lots of students on the streets at 5, at 6, but these guys study for their class for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, engineering, medical, because in the minds of the students and the parents, these things have more importance, value. And spoken English is something that they can do anytime. It is not something that must do now. If they're busy, they can do it next year. They can do it 6 months later. So because of this, I'm not going to start a class at early morning at 6. So fine, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Remember what your homework is. The question answers, and write down the numbers next to the information, because tomorrow I would like you guys to tell me what extra information you heard in the audio. That is all. See ya. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.